So maybe a good excuse to brush up on your HTML. It looks as though Python is now available or can be utilized in your browser. If you haven't already seen this new framework, Anaconda has developed something called what they call in PyScript, which is a framework that allows users to create Python applications in the browser, utilizing a mixture of Python and HTML. Okay, so you're probably not going to start converting all your applications into PyScript. However, in terms of learning Python, this has great implications. You've probably experienced this yourself. Working with a new language, you have to first of all make sure that you've got the right dependencies, downloads, installations, and so on. And for a lot of new developers, that can be quite a big undertaking. So having something like this in a learning context seems like a very good tool to have. So for those who don't want to read through the documentation, the rest of the tutorial, we're going to explore some of the features of the PyScript framework. So here we are then in Visual Studio Code. Let's go ahead and create a new file. We're working with HTML, so let's go for an index.html. Okay, so we're going to need some sort of boilerplate. I'll make the assumption that you're new to HTML, in which case, let's go ahead and let's go over to Bootstrap. Let's just go ahead and quickly grab let's go to the docs. Let's grab a boilerplate here. So I've gone over to docs and introduction, and here we have a nice little boilerplate. So I'm just going to copy that to my clipboard and go back, and there we go. Right. Okay, so I'm kind of making the assumption that you've got a basic understanding of HTML. We've got the HTML tags. We've got the doc type tag. So here we're defining we're using HTML5. We have everything wrapped in the HTML tags. And then we have the header tags here, so metadata about our page. And everything we do is going to be in the body tags here. And we have the h1 tag, a heading tag already entered. So let's just go ahead and start writing Python, I guess. So we can work with PyScript in one of two ways. We can download and work from there, or else cheekily it says install, but there's no installation here. We can simply use the CDN, the links here, to the code base and link into the framework from there. So I'm just going to grab these two links here, and I just need to go back into my header and drop them in there right there. So I just do that. So I've dropped those links in right here. So what we have here is a link to some CSS, and we have a link to some JavaScript, which looks like it's going to power that conversion from Python to some sort of format, which can then be rendered onto our page as HTML. So if you're still asking yourself, well, how is this even possible that we can write Python inside of a HTML page? It's well worth looking at some of the other technologies which I think they are utilizing to support this framework. And one of them is Pyodide, which is, like it says here, it makes it possible to run Python packages in the browser. And in addition to that, have a look at WebAssembly, which is essentially, I just say this, which is essentially a stack machine. So that's going to lead you into the type of technologies that this framework is leaning upon. So the framework relies on tags to help identify where Python is being utilized. So here, for example, we can use the PyScript tag here, and then we can then start to write some Python within. So let's just go for something simple, print, and then we'll go for a hello world. Okay, so we could probably wrap this up in a h1 tag. So we're kind of mixing this up here. So I'm just going to remove this h1 tag down the bottom here. So we've just indent that, so it makes it easier to see. So we've got a h1 tag, and we've got some Python script here. So if you are new to Python, sorry. So we're just using the print command here, which essentially would print to the terminal, but this is now going to be utilized to print to your page. Right, so as long as we're working inside the PyScript tags here, we can enter some Python. So that's our Python right there. So let's go ahead and open up our browser, open up the page in our browser. So I've gone ahead and located where this file is, and there's obviously many ways you can do this. I've opened up Chrome, And I'm just going to drag this file into Google here. Obviously, you can just open this up by going File Open. And you can see now we have rendered our our Python, and we've outputted hello world. So we can further test this if you like. Let's just go for some sort of simple equation. Just do a refresh. And you can see that has been processed, and we're now returning 2. So that's all obviously powered by utilizing Python language. So it's pretty much as you expect. If you have some Python knowledge at this point, we can start to create some variables if we like. So let's create a simple variable, and we can go ahead and output the variables. So we've saved that, just refresh the page. So it's going to take a couple of seconds, and we've outputted hello world again. I'll just zoom in a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now, if you're familiar with using JavaScript, and for the sake of trying to keep your code tidy, should we say, let's go ahead, and you probably want to use the PyScript somewhere maybe at the bottom, just to move it into one place. And then potentially you might want to then go ahead and inject that within, like similar to JavaScript, inside of another element. So let's identify our element with utilizing an ID. So let's just call this Python. And then what we can do here is we can define where the output should be sent, or where the output should be placed. So utilizing the ID there, the output Python. So then now that's going to be then injected into the inner element here. Okay, so same as before, but this time I'm going to remove the print from here. Oh, actually, no, we'll keep that print there. But this time, the code should be injected via the output command here inside of this div. So let's give that a go. So you can see the output is the same, but if we would go ahead and inspect this code here, you can see that the actual output is not in the PyScript area here anywhere. We've now injected that into the Python 1 ID up here. So we can use imports. So let's go for some of the built-in imports. So import, let's just go for math, and let's just try and output something here. So let's go for x equals math dot square root of 64. So go ahead and try and print that out. We'll refresh. There we go. Okay, so we can see that we can import from the standard Python library, but we can also import from some of the other popular packages. So this doesn't work with all packages, but what we're going to need to do here is just identify what packages we want to install. So let's set up our Py environment tags here, and then we just need to define. So let's just go for a popular package, so NumPy, right? NumPy, yeah. Okay, so with that, we then need to go ahead and import that. So in our script here, we'll go for an import. We'll do NumPy as MP. Okay, so we've imported that in, and then we can just go ahead and use it as per normal. So let's just go for x equals mp dot random dot let's just go for a random number. Okay, so we go ahead and just print out x. We'll give that a go. Go ahead and refresh. That's going to take maybe a little bit of time to initialize, and yeah, there we go. Not exactly what I wanted, so let's go ahead, just generate 10 random numbers. So 2, so 0, 1 or 2, oh no, 0 or 1, and then we're going to generate size equals 10. It's kind of irrelevant at this point, but we're just going to create 10 random numbers between 0 and 1. There we go. Okay, so now it's just the time to explore. Of course, what hasn't been shown here. As long as we're using a PyScript, of course, we can utilize functions here. We can develop a few functions. Haven't quite tested classes yet, whether that will be supported, but likely it will be. So give that a go. But hopefully that's given you an insight into starting to utilize PyScript. Happy to look further into this or discuss this further. If that's something you want, then leave a comment in the video and we can definitely consider that. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy, and hope to see you in another tutorial.